You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
It's Monday, June 25th, 2012, and you're listening to The Cure with your host, Georgia Edson, and tonight's producer, Kristen Custer. Tonight, Georgia's going to chat with legendary New Hampshire attorney Mark Sisti, as well as the head of CBA, Shawn Coleman. But first, we need to listen to some James, and then we'll get to the news. Plus, we're chillaxing tonight. Is that what Gavin's saying?
Yeah, well, with our friend Diesel, who has taken over the producer's chair number 2. Diesel, how's it going?
Cleaning his feet.
You know, Diesel's a lousy interview, but is certainly adorable. So if this were just a TV show, it could be like the Sunday morning or the Christmas morning Yule log. We could just watch Diesel. But because it's internet and some people are just listening and not watching, I mean, I think that the interview would go best. How's it going, Diesel?
Well, no offense, he doesn't have a lot of sponsors right now, so that's not going to pay the bills.
Good point.
So we'll get right to the news, because there were some fascinating editorials in the Denver Post this Sunday.
Yep.
And we want to start with the one from Vincent Carroll himself, and that was about the DEA chief stonewalling on marijuana. And it was something that had been, as Chris, as we know him, was talking about all week on Facebook, you know, these fabulous this fabulous thing between Jared Polis and DA chief Michele Lionhart has been bopping around the internet all week. And before we discuss it, Chris, do you have the ability to play it, or was that too complicated?
Nope, I got it right here.
Dude, fire away, and then we'll review it.
Gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman from Colorado, Mr. Polis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to begin by following up, because I don't, on my colleague Mr. Cohen's questions, and I want to try to get a clear answer to make sure the Drug Administration, Enforcement Administration is aware of some of the evidence. Is crack worse for a person than marijuana?
I believe all illegal drugs are bad.
Is methamphetamine worse for somebody's health than marijuana?
I don't think any illegal drug
is good. Heroin worse for someone's health than marijuana?
Again, all.
I mean, either yes, no, or I don't know. I mean, if you don't know, you can look this up. You should know this as the chief administrator for the Drug Enforcement Agency. I'm asking you a very straightforward question: is heroin worse for someone's health than marijuana?
All illegal drugs are bad.
Does this mean you don't know?
Heroin causes an addiction.
Okay.
That causes.
Well, seriously.
Causes many problems.
This came
very
after
hard
the South Park episode.
To kick.
So does that mean that the health impact of
if it came
heroin
first,
is worse
you know,
than
Trey
marijuana?
and those guys, I blame it on them. But
I think you're asking a subjective question.
No, it's subjective.
All drugs are
just
bad.
looking at the science, this is your area of expertise.
All drugs
I'm
are
a
bad.
layperson, but I've read some of the studies. I'm aware of it. I'm just asking you, as an expert in the subject area,
that was one of my favorite
is
points.
heroin worse for someone's health than marijuana?
And I'm
not
answering
subjective.
as a police officer and as a DEA agent that these drugs are illegal because they are dangerous, because they are addictive,
Drugs are bad and
because they do hurt a person's health.
So heroin is more addictive than marijuana? Is heroin more addictive than marijuana in your experience?
Generally, the properties of heroin, yes, it's more addictive.
Is methamphetamine
She answered
more
a
addictive
question
than
with a
marijuana?
yes.
Well, both are addictive.
Well, is methamphetamine more highly addictive than marijuana?
Drugs are bad.
I think
Illegal drugs
some
are bad.
people
Illegal drugs are
become
bad.
addicted to marijuana, and some people become addicted to methamphetamine.
You mentioned that the top and your top priority, I believe you indicated to us, is
You have the right
abuse
to
of
remain silent. Anything you say, Ken, will be
is
used
one of the
against you.
main classifications of prescription drugs, painkillers that you're concerned about.
That's correct.
And are those painkillers addictive?
Yes, they are. Very addictive.
Are those painkillers more addictive than marijuana?
All illegal drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad.
Illegal drugs are
Drugs are bad.
in Schedule 1.
Dude,
are
South Park's
addictive.
going to blow up. I mean,
Well, again, this is a
and it's only
they
60 miles from
health-based
South Park.
question,
So
and I know you're obviously you have a law
Drugs are bad.
enforcement background, but I'm
Cartman
sure
can
you're also
come down.
familiar, given
Somebody
your
told
position with
me
the science
that
of the
I was
matter.
to enforce the
And I'm
law
asking,
and never question
again,
it,
clearly
therefore
your
all
agency's
illegal
established
drugs are
abuse of
bad.
prescription drugs as the top priority. Is that therefore an indication that prescription drugs are more addictive than marijuana?
They're bad.
drugs are bad.
all illegal drugs are addictive.
Okay, your agency has
Look at Jared,
established
though.
abuse
I mean,
of prescription drugs as its
Congressman
top
Polis.
priority.
Excuse me.
You've indicated as much to us. Does that mean that abuse of prescription drugs is a greater threat to the public health than marijuana?
All
Because it's
illegal drugs are bad.
an emerging threat, because people are turning to prescription drugs faster than any other drug, that is why we prioritize it.
Well, in many states, including my home state of Colorado, we have a legalized and regulated regime of medical marijuana.
guys are like,
and we have found some great degree of success in combating the abuse
shit,
of,
you guys have what in Colorado?
of prescription
Nobody
drugs
told me about this.
by making sure the
Did anyone
patients
tell
have
you that all
access
illegal
to
drugs are
medical
bad?
marijuana, which the science
bad.
indicates, and I would certainly
By the way, I love
encourage you
this
to look at the
mystery science
science,
theater
is
300
less
thing we're doing.
addictive
Right.
and less
let's just
harmful
be
to
clear,
human health than
we're
some of
talking
the
about plants.
narcotic prescription drugs that are abused, and also when they're
On
used
every
on
day but
label, they can
Wednesday.
be very
What's it on Wednesday?
harmful to health as well.
Radio.
Would your agency consider supporting
It's
medical
squished together
marijuana
plants.
provisions when
Whipped
that can be
around
used
and frozen.
in pursuit of your top priority, which is reducing abuse of prescription drugs? If it can be documented,
Look, the guys in the
that
back are
use of
laughing their
medical
asses off.
marijuana
Like,
helps reduce
dude, he's
the
schooling
abuse of
her.
prescription drugs. Is that something you're willing to pursue?
Girl's like,
But,
Well, Congress has determined that marijuana is a controlled substance, and
That
DEA
means
is
it's
tasked
bad.
with
well, and-
enforcing
Yeah, but you
federal
mentioned
law.
priorities, though, and you said top priority, reducing abuse of prescription drugs. One tactic to do that would be use of medical marijuana.
Which is
And
a
I wanted to
recommended
make sure,
drug,
again,
Jared,
top
but you know
priority.
that.
In pursuit of your top priority, are you willing to look at the use of medical marijuana as a way of reducing abuse of prescription drugs?
We will look at any options for reducing.
if you stop
drug-
grilling me, I
drug
will tell you what you
addiction.
want to hear finally.
You're hurting
Let
my
me go,
feelings.
dude.
I've been told that drugs are
Gentlewoman
bad.
from Texas, Ms. Jackson.
Okay.
It's so pathetic, and it doesn't even have to be somebody who knows as much as our listeners to know that all she was doing was reciting rhetoric.
But that was just the beginning of the fun part, because all us whacktivists can watch C-SPAN, watch CNN, and see this stuff and spread it on Facebook. But at the point on the Sunday edition of the Denver Post, the king of the editorial,
It's me. That's me. Sorry.
dude, oh man, is this your first time at the rodeo?
I've never been
At
on
the radio.
She has, you know. There's this thing called mute. But anyway, the fascinating part was this is the first time it hits the Denver Post Sunday edition. And not only that, but it's Vincent Carroll, the head of the editorial board. And he just doesn't whip this out. He goes through that whole question and answer. And then among the great quotes, he says, quote, "Surely our blunderbuss DEA should be able to admit that whatever the downsides of marijuana overdose deaths are not among them," end quote.
Blunderbuss.
That and blunderbuss, I had to like laugh out loud on Sunday morning when I saw him use that. And then he follows up and frankly closes with the following quote, "Maybe this explains why the last two DEA agents in charge of the Denver office have taken such a clumsy public stance against Colorado's medical marijuana law, with the current chief agent saying she'd refuse to live in a city with dispensaries." Clearly she meant MMCs, but I added that. But then he goes on to say, "Does that mean that she'll have to leave the state if voters approve a measure on the fall's ballot decriminalizing the drug?" And he finalizes the final sentence in his editorial is, "The DEA is an important federal agency. It would be helpful if it weren't staffed by propagandists."
I loved that.
And
that was my
wasn't
favorite.
Corey Donahue saying that. You know, and I pick on him, but I don't think
Yeah.
he'd consider that me picking on him.
No.
I mean, that's what people would consider and
Yeah.
expect Corey Donahue to say. And this was the head of the Denver Post editorial board saying this.
Right.
Well, it was so clear in watching that clip. I mean, even just for a couple of minutes, that in her head, she knew what she was saying was correct, and she knew that what she'd been told
Drugs are
for
bad.
years and years is that drugs are bad, and
Yeah.
that was correct. And here she had a congressman who was fighting her on it, who was asking her these questions that she wasn't supposed to think through. She was just supposed to
Drugs are
recite
bad.
the
Okay.
fact that it's
Drugs are bad.
illegal.
The one thing that
Drugs
I
are
was
bad.
about to blow up at when you told me I had the right to remain silent. Some people are addicted to meth. Get addicted to meth. Only some people.
Well, I mean,
No, everybody who ever tries
That's
meth
right.
gets
That's right.
addicted.
That's right.
That's just how stupid they are at the DEA.
I wish
they
we had
don't.
the camera on you to see that face.
Yeah, they're just.
You know the struggle. Everyone knows that I have a educational background in an.
I think everyone knows that. Everyone.
Well, everyone that's listened to the show knows that I have an educational background and a work experience in the addictions field. It's the concentration of my master's degree. And what's so interesting is, I mean, and that was a long time ago.
She's on iCannabis Radio now.
Right?
We'll get into that.
I mean, there's such a difference. I understand that there are lots of reasons why people, have trouble with substances. The troubles that people have with cannabis do not even begin to equate with those other substances that Jared Polis was trying to elicit information about. It's not even in the same realm.
But it just gets better from there, because while the Denver Post splashes that out in the Sunday edition, just to the left of that,
on
below
the same
the
page,
fold, on the same page, they have something that the headline reads, "Denver shouldn't enact full ban on medical pot signs." And that was the entire editorial board. And I rag on them constantly. So that's why I'm making a special point to say this was a fabulous article. And above and beyond the fact, as reported by the Denver Post, Councilwoman Debbie Ortega's proposal would ban outdoor advertising for dispensaries within 1,000 feet of schools, child care centers, parks, and recreation centers. And while the libertarian part of me says, ow, that kind of sucks, there are other industries that do have restrictions, not as broad as that. And there are some interesting parts of Councilwoman Ortega's proposal, including a very narrow definition of park, which could help us in future issues. Hint, hint, no, I won't specify. But removing from the definition of park things like the little greenway in the middle of a road or a highway like Federal, Colorado, or other roads, and other things that don't have a lot of playground equipment on them. But what's interesting is she makes that proposal, but that apparently doesn't go far enough for Councilman Chris Herndon, who will push for a total ban on outdoor advertising for dispensaries, which of course the Post means centers. And Herndon's proposal would be presented to the City Council on August 1st. And while I mean total ban, we haven't seen the language, and that's in part because they haven't written it. But that was just kind of a secret. And it's kind of, it's interesting because Chris Herndon is a good guy. I mean, I have met him a bunch. He was a district manager for Wells, never mind. He for Walmart. But he has toured a number of centers. He's toured a number of grows. And he is the council person for District 9. And he hasn't been totally anti, but this totally anti-ban is, I hope not, a reflection of Stapleton, which he represents.
Can I interject at all?
No, because I'm not done. And you will take this on your own tangent.
I'm so furious about this.
Blah, blah, blah. You can be furious in a second because I'm not done, because the Post went on to say, quote, "But in this instance, First Amendment implications should be given greater consideration. What if someone who could benefit from medical marijuana is prompted to finally try it because of advertising? What if legitimate users found a more effective or cheaper strain upon seeing an ad? Yes, we realize there are what ifs, but when given with free speech, what ifs are worthy of consideration. Given some sort of outdoor advertising ban is likely, we would prefer to see a limited prohibition to the draconian steps that is an outright ban. Such a step treats medical marijuana similarly to alcohol and tobacco without completely trampling on their First Amendment." So I love that the Post recognizes that the centers and OPCs and others, MIPs, have First Amendment rights as well as other constitutional rights. And I want to see more editorials like this from the Post.
That's
and
right.
I'm hoping that the City Council takes heed and listens to this. We will be talking with Shawn later to discuss this very issue, because CBA is working on the Ortega part of this. And so why don't you get pissed with Shawn? Because we got to go straight to the Democratic, your party. The New Hampshire governor vetoed the MMJ bill. And for our regular listeners, we've been reporting for weeks that New Hampshire passed an MMJ bill through the legislature. And it was created and promoted by friggin' Republicans. And they got it through to only have it rejected by and vetoed by the governor, Governor Lynch, last week.
Isn't that interesting that his last name is Lynch?
Yeah, I mean, we know plenty of fun Lynches.
Really? I don't know that I know any. Oh, I do. Never mind.
We're not going to call him out.
That was in another life.
Another Republican who we find some of his viewpoints admirable.
Actually, I find his wife far more interesting, and I traveled Europe with her, and the stories will what happens in Europe stays in Europe.
They can start to tie these things down, and lots of people will be arrested.
No one will be arrested. We weren't that bad, but Merle and I smoked cigarettes together when we were kids.
Ooh, that's bad. So it's somewhere around 7:15. So now we'll try to turn it back to Chris and see if he can pay some bills, or you can pay some bills, and then we'll call Mr. Sisti and have some fun discussing some of his cases.
Absolutely. We'd like to thank our sponsors. We love them all. In particular, I'd like to thank our friends at Medical Marijuana of the Rockies up in Frisco, Colorado. mmrockies.com is your mountain source for meds. Make sure that you check out their ever-changing strain selection, which is always available on their website, and you can see what clones they have available, or I'm sorry, Mr. Ed said,
plants.
their immature plants selection that is available. They are a wonderful source, as everyone can contend to. They are located at exit 203 in Frisco, and they are available for you from
SMH.
I know. They are available from till 6:45 p.m. because you cannot sell after 7 p.m. So make sure you get there bright and early. But you know, it's a wonderful time to go spend some time up in the mountains, and certainly a great time to visit our friends at Medical Marijuana of the Rockies. Make sure you give a big hug to our friend Aaron and a shout out to Jerry, and make sure you told them that you heard about Medical Marijuana of the Rockies on iCannabis Radio. That's mmrockies.com. You're listening to The Cure with Georgia, and right now our friend Warren Edson, who I think is really cute, and the Chris's will be right back.
The Clinic is proud to announce the third annual Clinic Charity Classic Golf Tournament benefiting the Colorado MS Society. The tournament will be held at City Park Golf Course this coming August 11th. There will be some incredible prizes, including an opportunity to win a trip for two to Hawaii. The trip includes airfare, 8 days, 7 nights at the Ritz-Carlton Kapalua, including 4 rounds of golf and $1,500 spending cash. Thanks to the incredible support of Weed Maps, Hetty Glass, Rocky Mountain Hydro, T. Meyer & Stitch, Dixie Elixir, and MMJPrinting.com, we're able to provide awareness to this incredibly difficult condition that so many Coloradans are suffering from. The event will be covered extensively by our favorite industry media outlets, Culture Magazine, The Hemp Connoisseur, Kush Magazine, and of course the amazing people at iCannabis Radio. Please register at thecliniccolorado.com or at any of our 6 convenient locations throughout the Denver metro area.
Hi, Josh Stanley here from National Geographic's American Weed. I'm here with my brothers, and we've just recently put together a foundation in Colorado to allow for cancer patients and other patients of debilitating conditions to be able to get a hold of cannabis-based oil that's just about free of charge. I've just about had it with seeing sick patients suffer needlessly just because they can't afford the proper medication. That's what the Realm of Caring is going to change. Visit therealmofcaring.com. The website will be complete and up on 4/20 of 2012. But until then, please contact any of us Stanley Brothers directly through email. You can get us at gratefuljosh@hotmail.com. Now come on, Colorado. We need to take care of each other. Join the Realm. That's realmofcaring.com. Thank you so much.
California's Attorney General has determined that the Repeal Cannabis Prohibition Act will save hundreds of millions of dollars from our overburdened justice system while creating hundreds of millions in new tax revenues from new sustainable jobs and industries that are friendly to our environment. But we can't do it without your help. We are seeking your donations to get on the ballot. Please go to repealcannabisprohibition.org to learn more about how you can help. It's time to end the war on cannabis and hemp in California. It's time to end the madness. Paid for by Sensible Californians Incorporated.
Let's face it, rules and regulations are complicated, especially in the field of medical marijuana. Let Medical Marijuana 101 help you get through the compliance process. We can also explain to you your employment requirements, your employees, and your business. But our work doesn't stop there. Our experience in cultivation ranges from the design of grow rooms to the diagnosis and resolution of grow problems. Visit us at www.medicalmarijuana101.com or call 303-388-7706. That's 303-388-7706.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding, Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com.
Welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to The Cure on iCannabis Radio. And I just have to say a really quick shout out to Run on Grass. Thank you so much for running the...
And CDS, let's be specific, because it was a nice, they advertised on the website, right?
Yep, yes. Thank you, CDS, who was the sponsor for the run this weekend, the half marathon from essentially the Eisenhower Tunnel, which is on the Continental Divide, down into the town of Georgetown. So you started about 10,000 feet, and you
started at the Loveland Ski Area parking lot.
Loveland Ski Area parking lot. And you run it down the mountain to Georgetown, which is a beautiful mountain town. If you ever get the opportunity to go and visit Georgetown, it is spectacular. My legs freaking hurt. Downhill is hard. Here's the other thing that was so crazy. It was the temperatures were record-breaking all over Colorado. We do want to take a minute and just say that we are in spirit, doing everything that we can. Mentally, physically, and emotionally to help all of those that have been displaced by the fires across Colorado.
The endless array of fires. I mean,
please support the Red Cross. Those donation dollars go directly to helping shelters that have been up. There have been people who have been evacuated, sent home, and then re-evacuated. Hundreds of structures have been lost. Tens of thousands of acres have been lost. Colorado essentially is up in flames from north to south to east to west.
And we got weeks ahead of us.
And this is not the hottest time of the year. So having said all that, we please keep Colorado in your thoughts and send us as much positive juju as humanly possible. And possibly, if you too, like me, are the goddess of the weather, some rain would be incredible.
Let's call Mark.
We are really excited to call our friend Mark Sisti. We have his wonderful
daughter.
The
number you have dialed has been disconnected.
Well, that sucks. So,
Grace, you might want to look and make sure that that's your home number. We have, oh, look, Mark just texted me. Hey, you going to call home phone?
Yeah. 603.
Don't say it out loud. You probably don't want to say it out loud. Just go ahead and write it down. But we're gonna.
I'm sure Jane would love it.
We're gonna call our friend Mark Sisti, who is an attorney out of New Hampshire. Mark has a pretty varied practice, but one of the things that he's working on now is, everything that he does has to do with human rights and personal freedoms, and from his very public cases, including some murder trials and he just has an incredible background. But most recently, we have his work with the medical marijuana bill that was introduced in New Hampshire, and unfortunately vetoed by John Lynch. What I miss about the other is that we used to have that old-fashioned ring.
I like the old-fashioned ring.
I do too. And we have Grace Sisti with us, who is Mark's youngest daughter.
She needs to talk into the microphone.
And she needs to scoot forward just a little bit.
Talk into the microphone.
There we go. Oh, there we go. Now the ring is coming.
It was just being stubborn.
Yeah, we know stubborn. We know stubborn when we have to know stubborn. Hello. Nope, not yet. Nope.
And Grace, is this a party line?
Right?
Hello.
Mr. Sisti?
Hello. Yes.
You are live on iCannabis Radio.
Well, then I'm live.
Then you are.
And you're here with your youngest daughter as well.
Hey, Dad.
Oh, really? Hi, Grace.
Mark, thank you so much
Hope
for joining
you're
us.
staying cool out there.
Trying.
Trying.
Not successfully, but.
Well, she'll tell you about the cat pee incident
How are the
later
fires?
on. You know, we just were talking a little bit. The fires are outrageous and scary, and you know, we're so sad about them. Denver currently, knock on something, is pretty insulated from them. However, you know, Colorado's a lot more than just the city of Denver. So Mark,
Mark, before Georgia gets going into her questions, she always interviews her friends and does this every time, where she jumps straight into expecting all our listeners to know exactly who you are. And no offense to you, Mark, but can you explain to our listeners who you are, what you do, and what your claim to fame is?
Claim to fame is one of my...
Wait, not that one.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go
yeah.
into,
Wait,
like, the legal claim to fame.
Yes. You have a right to
Legal
remain
claim to
silent.
fame, not, you know, 22 years of, you know, pig roast parties or whatever.
I'm a lawyer in New Hampshire. I've been a criminal defense lawyer for 33 years. Primarily, well, the first 10 years I was with the New Hampshire Public Defender's Office. I was their deputy director. I also was a member of what was called at that time the Homicide Defense Project, and all I did was homicide cases for 7 years. After that, I entered into private practice. We set up a few offices in the state. I practice primarily in New England. I'm a member of the bar in Vermont, New Hampshire. I practice in Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, primarily.
So that encompasses like 60 square miles, right?
Sorry?
Sorry, I said that encompasses like 60 square miles, right?
You can walk from one state to the other.
Right. You could run, maybe.
Where I lived, you could, but we won't get into that. We actually swam, but...
Right. So, Mark, you've had some extremely high-profile, nationally known clients. I mean, this is you have not had a rural community kind of quiet.
Well, and to cut to the chase, I mean, I grew up in New Hampshire and went to Hanover and clearly remember the Pamela Smart case more than any case in New Hampshire until your most recent case, probably. So can you talk to us a little bit about that and then what your most recent case was that involves medical marijuana?
Well, right now, I mean, actually the Pam Smart case was an interesting case for us. It was a nationwide televised case over our objection, of course, but that took place, you know, several years ago. That was decades ago now. But an interesting case, a very unfortunate result. But it was one of many, many murder cases that I've done. I've represented a few folks that have gotten themselves into a bit of a jam. One of the cases that we're doing right now, where we've gotten a green light doing a jury nullification, is a fellow by the name of Doug Darrell, who is actually a neighbor and a friend of mine, and a neighbor and a friend of Grace's, actually, and a nice guy, the most peaceful man in the world, and a Rastafarian. And the military and the state police in the state of New Hampshire found it fit to run an investigation that ended up over his very rural, isolated farm, where they picked up all of 6 plants growing next to a stone wall. Obviously, they were tipped off, but their claim is that they just randomly found the place.
And Mark, to be clear for our listeners, that's 6,
but the judge,
which is
after hearing
basically...
some of this material, has given me a green light to go straight up with a nullification defense.
And
we did
six
start
small
one
plants.
case that ended in a mistrial, and just after the opening statements, in fact, and I did poll the jury after that particular case, and they were unanimous that at that point, and from what they had heard from the state, they were not inclined to convict Mr. Darrell. So we're getting ready to take another run at it. It'll take place, we hope, in September.
Excellent. You know, we wish you the best. I mean, it just it never ceases to amaze me when a person like your clients, who, from what I understand, This was one of many herbs he was growing.
Oh, he's never been to a doctor. He's 59 years old, and he takes care of himself. He is not just a Rastafarian. He was actually given a grant by the federal government to go to the Smithsonian and present many lectures on the religion and the culture. He's an exceptional human being.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. It's so interesting what we choose to spend our tax dollars on, and certainly this is not, if I got the choice, the area that I would spend money on.
Well, and Mark, it's 7:30 Mountain Time here, and we have to pay a couple bills. Can you hang in there for 2 minutes, and when you come back, we can talk about the state of medical marijuana in New Hampshire and what we need to do to convince Governor Lynch to okay this thing?
I'm ready and waiting. Go right ahead.
That sounds awesome. We'd like to thank our friends at Noda Urban Garden Supply, who are wonderful sponsors of ours. Noda Urban Garden Supply is located at 1330 27th Street, which is between Larimer and Walnut on 27th, which is about 4 blocks northeast of Coors Field. Noda Urban Garden Supply is your area garden supply store, whether you are a hobby cultivator or whether you are a big business, you got a big warehouse cultivator, they want to help you out. And our friend Levi at Noda Urban Garden Supply is there to answer any and all of your grow questions. They have all of your wonderful supplies, and whatever you want that they don't possibly have in stock, we're happy to order for you and can typically get it within 24 to 48 hours. However, they have a wonderful in-store inventory. Please check them out at 1330 27th Street at Noda Urban Garden Supply. Please tell them that you heard about them on iCannabis Radio. You were listening to The Cure, and ask for Levi. As you know, Levi does a once a month grow spot on The Cure, and he's happy to help you out. The other interesting thing about Noda Urban Garden Supply is that they have compost tea available for free for all of their customers. So
don't drink it.
Don't drink it. Put it in your plants. That's what it's there for. That's Noda Urban Garden Supply. NODO. Urban Garden Supply, NODO, urbangardensupply.com. You're listening to The Cure on iCannabis Radio, and we will be right back.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hampden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hampden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
Let's face it, rules and regulations are complicated, especially in the field of medical marijuana. Let Medical Marijuana 101 help you get through the compliance process. We can also explain to you your employment requirements, your employees, and your business. But our work doesn't stop there. Our experience in cultivation ranges from the design of grow rooms to the diagnosis and resolution of grow problems. Visit us at www.medicalmarijuana101.com or call 303-388-7706. That's 303-388-7706.
California's Attorney General has determined that the Repeal Cannabis Prohibition Act will save hundreds of millions of dollars from our overburdened justice system while creating hundreds of millions in new tax revenues from new sustainable jobs and industries that are friendly to our environment. But we can't do it without your help. We are seeking your donations to get on the ballot. Please go to repealcannabisprohibition.org to learn more about how you can help. It's time to end the war on cannabis and hemp in California. It's time to end the madness. Paid for by Sensible Californians Incorporated.
Hi, Josh Stanley here from National Geographic's American Weed. I'm here with my brothers, and we've just recently put together a foundation in Colorado to allow for cancer patients and other patients of debilitating conditions to be able to get a hold of cannabis-based oil that's just about free of charge. I've just about had it with seeing sick patients suffer needlessly just because they can't afford the proper medication. That's what the Realm of Caring is going to change. Visit therealmofcaring.com. The website will be complete and up on 4/20 of 2012. But until then, please contact any of us Stanley Brothers directly through email. You can get us at gratefuljosh@hotmail.com. Now come on, Colorado. We need to take care of each other. Join the Realm. That's realmofcaring.com. Thank you so much.
The clinic is proud to announce the 3rd annual Clinic Charity Classic Golf Tournament benefiting the Colorado MS Society. The tournament will be held at City Park Golf Course this coming August 11th. There will be some incredible prizes, including an opportunity to win a trip.
Hey, seriously, you guys have all heard this ad before on this hour. This is going to be a great flipping event, and iCannabis Radio is going to have a team of 4 golfers out there, as well as we sponsoring a hole and a table. Please come join us.
Well, we're actually sponsors for the entire event, and we'll be at the halfway point where you can meet us in person, because I know it's fascinating to want to meet us in person.
So who do they get to meet?
The event will be
let's send the grumpy Chris out.
No, he's not.
The grumpy Chris?
No,
my Chris.
No, I was.
We'll have him sit there and be like,
I was going to bring my dog. I was going to bring my dog.
So she'll bite people?
She won't bite people, but she. Yeah, between
combo the two, and let's bring your dad in on that.
Great, we'll get sued.
In between Grace's cat peeing on people and us promoting a really
Grace's
unusual
cat pees on the bed. Grace's dog pees on people, and then my dog bites.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a party right there.
Welcome, Mark.
Mark, thank you so much for waiting. Yeah. We are talking to Mark Sisti, the legendary attorney out of New Hampshire, who is also a great friend of the Edsons. We are so thrilled to have you on the air. And just so you know, Mark, Gavin would be in here if we didn't have the door locked.
Well, I would appreciate it if Gavin would come in so I can have a chat with the young lad.
We'll do it when we're not on live on the air, for sure.
Yeah, we can't control what he says about us or other people, and
we can't control much of anything.
No.
But now we want to turn the tables a little bit and
right now
and talk a little bit about what the hell is going on with New Hampshire and medical marijuana.
Woo.
Actually, I think good things are happening. I think we're very, very close, and I'll give you a little bit of history. This is the second time that the legislature in the state of New Hampshire has placed a medical marijuana bill before the governor, and the governor has vetoed it. Not just this governor, Lynch, but our now Senator Shaheen had that opportunity years ago to pass a similar bill. I would say 6-7 years ago. But instead, I think she decided that she'd like to make a run for senator and conveniently vetoed it. In Mr. Lynch's case, I don't see any reason why he is vetoing the bill. We have a House of Representatives that has unbelievably put up numbers for medical marijuana. It is veto override, no problem in the House of Representatives.
Okay.
We are now, from what our count is this morning, and they're kind of keeping it close at the Senate, I'm told that we should be optimistic. We're, I think, one vote off. They're not exposing the one senator that they think they can turn. But I'm not sure we should be counting it out here. We may be veto-proof in the Senate right now. That vote should take place Wednesday of this week.
So what's kind of been happening behind the scenes?
I'll tell you where the negotiations are going. This is a strange bill, and I think there's room to negotiate. Lynch doesn't like the bill because what it allows for the patient is 6 ounces of marijuana in their possession at all times. And I think Lynch's problem was the amount. And I believe that as of this morning, the Senate and the House are now ready to reduce that to a 2-ounce limit with 6 seedlings and 6 mature plants for each patient, which I think even if Lynch doesn't like it, I think will basically convince the one senator that this isn't some runaway train with an unlimited amount of product that would be out there. So I think they're going to start working on the limits and the weights, and I think they may have already cut that deal, but they're really being quiet in the Senate about it.
Well, and Mark, do you happen to know Senator Matthew Hood's stance on this?
I don't know. These guys have shut down right now. They're not talking.
Okay.
They're negotiating like crazy is what's going on. There are several vetoes that they're looking to override, and I think there's an awful lot of work going on politically, especially in the Senate. The House, there doesn't have to be any work. They're all the way behind it.
Well, and
you could say 20 pounds of marijuana per patient, and they pass it.
And we'll get more in touch with you tomorrow about that issue, because I know Matt really well, and so if we could figure out how to get in touch with him, that would be fun.
We could do it. Actually,
it actually appears he's a Democratic whip. He is the Democratic whip currently.
All right.
Matt is the Democratic whip right now.
So you guys should definitely talk. You guys should definitely talk about that, because
I'll tell you, this is a very.
Go ahead.
It's a strange alliance. Now you have to remember that there are only 6 Democrats in the Senate out of the total number this run around. They're a distinct minority. But it's not the Democrats running the charge. It's actually the presentation that has been made.
Mm-hmm.
And people have, I guess, have just come to the conclusion that this has become ridiculous around here. We are an island here. I mean, Maine has it.
Right.
Massachusetts has decrimmed for the most part. Vermont has medical.
Mm-hmm.
Connecticut just picked it up. Why should we just be sitting here by ourselves?
Right.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Well, and I think, as you know, Mark, we know Governor Shumlin in Vermont pretty well and have had that discussion with him a lot. But this is interesting. We'll try to pursue that with you tomorrow, because, again, it's so weird to have Matt sitting in this position. But, yeah, I played 3 sports. Well, 2 sports with him, 1 with his sister. So
don't bring up the sister part. That always ends badly.
She could ski like a...
That always ends badly.
Wow.
What's so interesting to me, Mark, is what a bipartisan issue I believe that this is. Democrats at their core believe in personal freedoms. Republicans at their core believe in money, and by legalizing marijuana medically or recreationally or both, you meet both of those needs. And if people could just get past whatever ridiculous concern they have, I think we'd all be better off for it.
Well, one of the things you folks could probably do for us, and I was impressed by what I saw when I traveled out there just last week, was the way in which the centers that are dealing with this product they're so professional.
That's right.
And I think that there's a lot of misconception with regard to how medical marijuana is distributed. I think that a lot of these folks have this image that there are a bunch of stoned out guys hanging around out in front of these places, selling to little kids, as soon as they get their bag. And, as you know, I mean, I watched transactions over at your store
right.
that were more than professionally taken care of, probably more regulated than the local drugstore that is taking care of business. And certainly under much more scrutiny. I don't think that a lot of lawmakers in a lot of states understand what really goes on. You really should do a day in the life of kind of a film, so that we would have that with us when we try to lobby these people, because it really is something that they have no conception of what is taking place.
Well, I think you make such a good point. I think the irony in what you're asking is people say, oh my gosh, I'm going to have it on film, and then if the feds want to bust me, I've made my own evidence.
Oh, I don't think you have to have a human being's face on film. But I have to tell you, I mean, I watched a couple of transactions there, and frankly, I mean, I could go into a CVS with a fake ID and a fake script and get oxycodone a hell of a lot easier than getting 2 joints over at your store.
That's right. That's right. So Mark, the next vote's going to happen on Wednesday, correct?
Yeah, Wednesday's the day.
Wednesday's the day. We will be thinking about you. If there's anything that we can do to support you, if there's anything that you need last second, anything that you need to help educate your legislators, please do not hesitate to ask. We are happy to provide all that we can.
Well, we'll reach out, and I should have a head count tomorrow, and I'll check in with you.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you, Mark, so much.
Well, and so you know, Mark, I'm urging Matthew to, go through the whole Hanover High School crap, as he was a year behind me, but his sister was in my class, and get in touch with me, and we'll see where it goes from there. Because I did go through the Hanover High School alumni webpage and find out some numbers and information that I could contact him at.
Personal information. That's good stuff right there. Thank you, Mark,
so
much.
We'll get you the direct line. We'll get you the direct line, so that won't be a problem.
Oh, no, I'm going to call his mother. I'm kind of not kidding. See, I'm kind of not kidding.
That just made my stomach turn over a little bit.
I skied with his sister and played lacrosse with him and football with him. So yeah,
call your mom.
Well, that's what I just found was his mother's number.
Perfect, Mark. Thank you so much for being on the show. We appreciate it, and we hope to have you on again soon.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, and take care of that kid, will you?
Okay, Dad.
Absolutely.
Wait, he's headed to your direction on Sunday, so we're out of control.
That's right. That's right.
It's Grandma.
We'll see you soon. We'll see you soon. We have been talking to Mark Sisti. That was awesome.
That was
I love that.
cool.
I love that. And are we going to take a quick break, or are we going to go right into our next caller?
Go right into the next one.
Okay, we are going to call our friend Shawn Coleman from the Cannabis Business Alliance because they have a pretty important fundraiser coming up on Wednesday.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just talking about this past conversation that we had about how important it is to have relationships with your lawmakers. I mean, there's a reason why some areas do well and some don't. It is based on the relationship that we have with our lawmakers, and everybody does it, and we should as well. Hi, Shawn, you're live on The Cure on iCannabis Radio.
Hey, how are you?
Good, thank you so much. You know what? I say this all the time, and I'm going to say it again. I mean, one of my favorite things about doing this show is that I get to talk to my friends, and I have to admit that I contacted you last minute today because Warren reminded me that you guys have your fundraiser on Wednesday, and we wanted to give you a shout out. But before we do that, let me back up just a little bit, and please tell our listeners.
See, I always give her shit about this, Shawn, because
I know.
No FCC, so I can say shit.
But
she always acts like she knows everybody, and our listeners are from all over the country and don't realize. Oh yeah, who's Shawn?
Well, Georgia. First of all, I want to say I totally agree with you. I am the executive director of the Cannabis Business Alliance, and the reason why I love my job is because I get to hang out with my friends all day.
Thank you.
And also, not only am I hanging out with my friends, but we get to make history.
Right.
And that is a unique and important experience. And my only regret is that everybody can't do my job.
Heck yeah. Tell us a little bit about CBA.
So the Cannabis Business Alliance is a nonprofit trade group that we represent medical cannabis businesses here in Colorado, and we represent ancillary businesses, so accountants, lawyers, HVAC people, contractors who support our industry. And our goal is to provide a stable regulatory environment for these small businesses because, again, at the end of the day, if you're a patient, the center you're getting the medicine from is probably just a small business of people who are paying a living wage, providing jobs, paying taxes. So what we're trying to do is make sure that those people have a regulatory environment that's stable so they can continue doing what they do best, which is serve patients.
Thank you. Absolutely. One of the reasons why I wanted to have you on tonight was because you guys have a fundraiser on Wednesday. And let me back up just a second. I don't know if you were listening to our previous guest, but we were just talking to Attorney Mark Sisti out of New Hampshire. And they are, the governor just vetoed the medical marijuana bill in New Hampshire. And so the Senate is going to vote, and they are doing everything in their power to talk to all the senators to ensure that the Senate overrides this veto. And we were just talking about how important it is to have relationships with your legislators. Your legislators need to be educated. Our legislators in particular need to be educated on the issues that are important to us, which brings us to why it's important to attend your fundraiser on Wednesday.
Well, thanks for having that preface, George. I really appreciate it, because the first thing I want to say is that if you are listening to this show right now and you know anyone in the state of New Hampshire, you need to call them, email them, how important it is that we make reform on marijuana laws.
Wait. We're losing you here, Shawn.
Shawn, you just went underwater. Did we lose you?
Let's call him back.
Hang up on poor Shawn and call him back.
Because we had to do this the other day with him.
And we have a really cool picture of him sitting on a mountain on a rock.
Yeah, Shawn, we're going to call you right back on.
And he was just urging us to call our New Hampshire legislators and senators and urge them to work on this. Oh, maybe his phone is bad.
He might have still been on it.
And actually, we heard from Mark already. Concentrate on your senators, and particularly the Democrats. And that's a weird part about New Hampshire. This is a Republican-led medical marijuana bill.
Yeah, it's really weird. In New Hampshire, if you say that you're a Republican, you really mean you're a libertarian. It's just nasty for
but you
other
really
people.
And we're back.
And we're
There
back.
we go.
Oh,
Sorry,
you
Shawn.
sound so good.
We had a pretty picture of you sitting on a mountain, though. So
I know. There's we have.
Well, I am calling in from Boulder this evening. I actually live in Boulder, and you know, one of the things that's great about our community is that we're just full of regular people. So I needed to spend some time with my friends that just recently had kids who were hanging out and doing a little barbecuing and all the newborn. So that's a lot of fun. But what I was saying is that
New Hampshire.
If you know someone in New Hampshire, make sure you call them and email them and explain to them how important it is that they call their state senators and state representatives and make sure they can overturn that veto, because that is going to be a part of history.
Yeah,
what we need
Mark,
for national reform is for more states to come to our side of the ledger. So if we can bring New Hampshire on, that's going to be 18 plus District Columbia, and this is something that's within reach. So make sure that they know what's a constituent issue. But back to our fundraiser here in Colorado, this coming Thursday, we are hosting a fundraiser for the House Democratic Caucus because we believe
Shawn,
that
Thursday or Wednesday?
Yes.
Thursday or Wednesday?
It's Thursday. Excuse me if I said Wednesday. It is on Thursday.
No, you said
evening.
Thursday. I thought I'd received an email that said something
Wednesday.
different, so
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure. Thursday's cool. Just
It is Thursday.
listeners know.
Thursday at 6:30 p.m. at 700 West 11th Avenue in Denver. And it's actually on our website at cannabisalliance.org. You can just click there, and you will see it on our front page.
And Shawn, that was cannabisalliance.org?
That's right, cannabisalliance.org.
Okay, and what business are you having this at, or is it a private residence?
It's a private residence.
Very cool. I just want to make sure if it was a business, we could let our listeners know what business that was so they could more readily identify it.
Sure. And, you know, just so I can let you all in on a little secret, that when fundraisers are being hosted, people just want you to show up. So you're going to see on there that attendee should as $100, but that's a suggested contribution. If you can contribute $10 or $5 or $1,
that's right.
We want you to be there.
Well, and Shawn, who will you get to meet? Who will you get to meet? Sorry, that was all like I'm sounding like Darth Vader here. Like who do they get to meet if they go there and spend whatever they can afford to talk about medical marijuana?
Whatever they can afford, because we're going to have Representative Claire Levy. We're going to have Representative Crisanti Duran, who, if the Democrats regain the House, would be Speaker of the Judiciary Committee. Now, for all the people who care about the DOID legislation, that's the committee that it goes to. So it's very important that you get some FaceTime with Constance Duran and Mark Ferrandino, who, if the Democrats get the House back, may be the next Speaker of the House. This is an opportunity for our community to get some informal FaceTime with the people who are going to be leading our General Assembly next session. So it's really important that you get there.
So, Shawn, it won't be... You'll get to meet some different political figures and some of those political figures that have supported us in the last few years. Is that correct?
Hey, Warren, you're breaking up a little bit.
I'm sorry, man. We're getting
I apologize, but if your question was, it sounded like your question was basically about political affiliation. And I would say this, that whether you are a card-carrying Democrat as I am, or a card-carrying Republican as many people in this industry are, or an independent, or whatever you want to call yourself, we all need to come together and make sure that we vote in block on marijuana issues. So it's important that you come get some FaceTime with these representatives, contribute what you feel comfortable contributing, but be there. Show that we are a constituency that both parties must recognize, must listen to, and must write laws that are in the benefit of patients and the small business owners who are providing medicine to those patients.
So tell us who they're going to be supporting when they attend this event on Thursday.
So this particular event is for the House Democratic Caucus. So this is going to be supporting all Democratic candidates running for the Colorado General Assembly for the House of Representatives.
Great.
And like I said, you're going to have Claire Levy, Constance Duran, and Mark Ferrandino, three people that if you care about marijuana policy in the state of Colorado, you must know these people. And this will be your opportunity to shake their hand, talk to them about issues that you care about, whether it's marijuana, whether it's any other issue. Again, there's the General Assembly. We're a part of a broader movement about civil rights in this state. And, the civil unions bill is another issue there. These are folks that you want to talk to.
That's right. So tell us again the time and the place.
Sorry, I'm leaving. I'm partying.
This Thursday, June 28th at 6:30 at 700 West 11th Avenue. That's the corner of 11th and Galapago in Denver. And you can go to our website at cannabisalliance.org. It's right on the front page. You can click it. And what everyone should do that cares about this is call a friend and bring a friend. And we will see you on Thursday night.
Absolutely. I think really, listeners, one of the things that Shawn wants you to hear so much is that our elected officials pay attention when they see lots of us who care, and the more people who show up, don't get caught up in the amount of money that they suggest that you donate. Get caught up in the fact that you ought to be there in person and live, because the more of us that are at these events, the louder that our voices speak. That's exactly right. This is a wonderful event, and Shawn, I so appreciate again at the last minute you being willing, especially taking some time out of some personal time that you have finally been taking for yourself to spend some time with friends. Yeah. I can't tell you how thankful I am.
I'm always happy to talk to you, Georgia, and Warren, because it's just personal time. You're friends of mine, and it's really important to me that everyone in our community, the cannabis community, understands how important it is to be engaged in the political process. So I really hope to see everyone Thursday night, and thanks for thinking of me and letting me get a chance to talk about it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shawn. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Thank you. We've been talking to Shawn Coleman from the Cannabis Business Alliance, and it's a pretty important fundraiser. Over the years, I feel like we go to a lot of fundraisers every single year, and many times a year, and really it's about making that FaceTime, like Shawn said. It's really important in that respect. It's been a pretty fun show, right, everybody? Right? Got to have your microphones on in order for anybody to hear us say right. Otherwise, it seems like I'm talking to myself.
Right. I like doing that, though.
Right.
I like making you think, everybody think you're talking to yourself.
No one thinks right. I want to wrap up a little bit and say what an exciting week we have coming up. Do you guys realize what Wednesday night is?
IDAB Radio.
Hello, we have a brand new show starting. This is so exciting. So really quick, tomorrow night we have American Weed Realm Radio, which starts at a brand new time from 6:30 to 8 p.m. It used to be from 7 to 8. Now they've added an extra half an hour. So don't come in at 7. You'll miss a half an hour of the show. So from 6:30 to 8, and they're going to
show up about 6.
Show up about 6.
You never know.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, show up about 6. Trust me, early is better than late. They're going to have Bob Kraus. His trial started today, and so they're going to be interviewing him, not necessarily about his trial, but really about what cannabis has done for him and what oil has meant for him. And Chris Stubbs from Can Labs is going to be on talking about the science and how to really talk the talk of medical marijuana. And then after the new time of American Weed, Realm Radio is Sexpot Radio, a repeat from 8 to 10. Because in all honesty, they're going to be at the Science Guy show in Boulder. So don't miss Sexpot Radio. And then on Wednesday, oh my gosh, our new show, IDAB Radio.
IDAB Radio. They're going to have Brittany Wagner on from the clinic just down the hall here. And
Brittany Wagner is also High Times Magazine, Miss High Times Magazine 2010. Yep. So Brittany, thank you. And
then another guest from the West Coast, and I think that's going to be a regular thing. We're going to have a guest here at about 7:10ish, and then about 8:10ish our time. 7:10 West Coast, we're going to have a West Coast guest.
Well, you know the whole thing about 7:10, right, people? Yeah. 7:10 is the Dabs version of 4:20, so just you wait. That should be a fun time.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
And then Thursday, right? Thursday, of course, is Overgrow the Radio, and as we talked about, Bob Kraus's trial began, and so he's going to be on that show as well. And, of course, next Monday is the first Monday of July, and what does that mean? It means Glass Monday.
Yep.
Our friends from Mad Hatter will be here. So we've got a fantastic week ahead of us. We want to thank our sponsors, our friends at Mile High Wellness, Noda Urban Garden Supply, Edson Maton and Mats, Medical Marijuana of the Rockies. Hi, Jerry, who's in the studio with us tonight. Thank you so much for coming. And then Medical Marijuana 101 and Run on Grass. What a fantastic show. Grace, thank you so much for being here to talk to your daddy.
I didn't really say much, but it was pretty fun.
Oh, he just liked you being here. Mr. Custer, kisses to you.
Mwah.
And we will talk to you guys next week. Thanks for listening to The Cure. Peace out.